Good morning, everybody. This is Stacy Turner. Welcome to our DMOpro Zoom. We're so glad you're here. Hope you had a great weekend. And today I wanted to talk to you guys about seasonal expectations. So, seasonal expectations, what in the world would she be talking about seasonal expectations? Well, it's honestly something that I found myself a bit frustrated over the last couple of events that I've done. And then I was drinking coffee this morning thinking, okay, what's going on? And I realized it's a different season. It's the summer now. Like, why do I have the same expectations for events that I did in the winter? So, depending on where you live, because Patty and I have discussed this before on our Zoom, in the winter where I'm at, you can get a lot of people to events because they're not going on vacation and they just want something to do. So, especially February, March, January, like those months, we can get people, even April, really big numbers to events or bigger numbers to events. But in the summer, it's a lot harder. And then obviously, like nobody, makes a event on Christmas Eve, right? So there are changes in seasons that are going to affect our business and it's going to affect our outcome of events, of who comes to events, the number of people that come to events. So we just have to understand that, look at it, recognize it, and then manage our expectations. Because if I have the expectation that, okay, let's talk about the end of May. So we had quite a few events end of May. Well, you've got graduations, you've got graduation parties, and not just high school graduation, you have kindergarten graduations and fifth grade graduations and eighth grade graduations. And then you have high school graduations, then you have college graduations, and all of those have parties that go around. And then you have end of school year parties for them in their class. You have sports banquets and choir banquets and end of year wrap up things to where it was really difficult to get people to come to an event. So I can be frustrated with that, or I can recognize, okay, it's just this season of the year. It's a different season of the year. So we can talk seasons as in holidays, right? So holidays, we could talk about, like I said, Christmas. We kind of know Christmas, December is going to be a lower number of people that come to events. We're probably going to see not as many orders come in during that month, but then we can expectation would be January, February. People are like, oh, I need to reset my health. This is a great time, New Year's resolutions. And we will see a difference in people coming to events and that sort of thing. So it could be holidays, right? That of seasons that change. So that's the big one I can think of holiday wise. But if you know that there's a holiday in your community of people that everyone goes to and is involved in and has really big events around, then obviously we wouldn't, create events during that time that would counterfeit it or compete with it. So also looking at seasonal changes like in weather. So, and then you've got regional, right? Because Patty's winter, people stay indoors because there's a ton of snow there. And she said people don't come to events as much when there's so much snow. And they are more likely to do a Zoom meeting where I find in my area, because we don't have snow, people are staying in town. They're not traveling as much. So they're looking for something to do. And so they will come to events in person. So not only do you just have to look at the season of what's the weather like or the season of life that people are in, but also, that's going to affect their mobility or their ability to show up. So it's got to be something you look at across the board. Now, if you live in Florida, especially South Florida, there's only one season there, right? Like that doesn't change so much. You're not going to have weather or whatever, but you may have a season of time where a lot of tourists come in and locals go out. So you might have to change how you interact with tourists in your area. If you're wanting to somehow attract tourists to events, could you do an event on Airbnb to where, I don't know if you guys have seen that, you can do experiences on Airbnb. You can host experiences where you could host sourdough classes in an area where you have a lot of tourists that come in. You could attract people to conversations that you wouldn't typically have because they're there looking for something to do. So that's what Airbnb experiences are. We've done a lot of them when we've traveled. We look at that. They're typically less expensive than something you would do outside of, like a tourist group or something like that. They go on hikes, they do different things, but that's just one example. What if you teach pottery classes, or you teach pickleball lessons, or you're really good at something and you have a passion for it? Why not create events around that or opportunities for people to come in and learn? You're the host, you're in charge of it. You can talk about whatever you want, tie it back to health, say that in the description. That's just one example that I've thought of. If you live in a place where tourists come in and locals go out, okay, you can sit back and be like, dang it, all my friends are gone and nobody's going to come to events and I don't have anyone to talk to. Or you can use that opportunity to create events to attract a different group of people. But it's going to take kind of some thinking outside the box, right? For summer activities, a lot of times in the summer, people are getting away from here because Judy and I were just discussing where we live. It's really hot in the summer. It's already in the hundreds every day this week. So it's super hot. People love to go to the mountains where they can get away and they can go where it's cooler. It could be significantly cooler, like 30 degrees cooler 2 hours from us, or an hour and a half, honestly, from where we're at. So people will go on the weekends. They're here for work during the week. So I'm going to have to adjust my events. We didn't have anyone other than team members that came to our coffee chat. Well, when I think of coffee, I think of like the winter and like hot coffee. That may not be appealing to somebody to come to during the summer when it's 100 degrees outside, right? So we're going to have to adjust that. The other thing is people do go away for the weekend. So when they're going on vacation or they're going somewhere, I'm less likely to get somebody to come to a weekend. When yesterday, we did our healthy Lunchables. We had us three, there were four of us. It was all team members that showed up. It was great. It was still something to post about, but we didn't have any of our typical prospects that come for those larger events. So I was thinking, managing my own expectations. I was a little bit like, man, am I just spinning my wheels here? Like, what's the point of doing events if nobody comes to the events? So when we get to that place, we have to make an adjustment in our mind and just evaluate, okay, has something in life in this area changed? Is it a different season of life for parents? In our area, we have a huge football. Like, football is huge. In the fall, it would be really dumb for me to host an event on a Friday night. Nobody's coming. They're all at the game. It's massive stadium for 12,000 people in this small town. Everyone's there. That's the time to go shopping at Walmart. If you need groceries, nobody's there. Like, restaurants closed down, like everybody is there. So if I host an event on a Friday night in the fall and nobody comes, is that fair to myself or anyone else that I would be disappointed that no one's there? No, it just is common sense. Don't do that, right? During soccer season, moms have soccer practice and games like every Saturday morning. So if that's my circle of influence and friends is other soccer moms, does it make sense to have an event on a Saturday morning during soccer season? It does not. Right? Like, I need to think of something else that would support those soccer moms that would be of value to them, and then bring that type of event in at a different time. So what if you did an event where you made snack boxes for after practice snack boxes? So on a Thursday, morning, when a lot of your moms are home, then you get together and you make these snack boxes that they can use for their kids during practice season. Something like that, right? So you're just looking at who is the group that you're trying to reach, or who is it that you hang out the most with. If you are big into pickleball and you're playing pickleball, does it make sense to host a game during the time when all of those pickleball players are playing those 2 hours a day? Probably not the best time, but is there something you could do to work around that would support them? So after that 2 hour game session, to where you host an event or you bring in smoothies and power protein balls, something to refresh them and refuel them after that game, even if it's just more open discussion than an actual presentation. But hey, I brought smoothies for you guys and I brought some protein balls, and you have that conversation. The soccer mom can make protein balls and share them with the other moms during practice. They probably haven't eaten dinner either, and she could share those with her. So think about the people in your life, the people groups that you're around. How do you create events around them that supports the season that they're in, the season of spring, summer, fall, and winter? You have to take that into account. And then, even the season of life that they're in. If they have little ones and you have a group of moms that all have little ones, does it make sense to host an event that's right during nap time? Probably not, right? So then what kind of event can you host that would help them to be able to come? If you have a large speaker coming and you're wanting to attract families to come, you're going to need babysitters. Like, they're more likely to come if you feed them and if you have childcare, right? If you're older and you're out of the house, your kids are out of the house, you don't have kids, you might not think about that, but you're going to end up with the audience of people that don't have little kids. You're not going to have younger families in those events. So how do you support different people groups and age groups in the season of life that they're in? Right? So also thinking about an older generation event, if you have events at 8 o'clock at night, they're probably not going to come, right? You're going to have to back that age group or that time back for the age group. So it can be seasons of life age-wise. It can be seasons of life, seasons of the year. It could be seasons of life just of what's happening in the area, in your community, and then also due to weather. But each place that you live, that's going to affect those in different ways. So we can say, nobody's coming to the events don't work, I'm going to stop doing events. During this time, nobody's going to come to my events because everyone's traveling, so I'm not going to do events right now. Or I can say, okay, Saturday mornings probably aren't the best time for events. What is a better day? A better day might be a Thursday or a Tuesday night or a Monday night, to where I can get them to come to those type events because they don't have as much going on in their life. There's not practice right now for sports. So that's a benefit, right? During soccer season, they have games on Thursday nights as well, or they have practice. Or baseball, that seemed to be the one. Baseball was Thursday nights. Well, right now there is no practice happening, so Thursday nights are going to be a better night to get people to come to events. So I can host 7 events on days that aren't really going to be the best for people, and I can be disappointed that no one comes. Or I can narrow the number of days I'm going to do an event and focus it on the maybe 2 days of that week that I have a higher possibility of people coming. And then also, what appeals to them? What's going to be of importance to them? The last thing I wanted to share with you guys is just be careful. We can do a whole lot of value-added events, like the sourdough events, the salad in a jar events, these healthy lunchable events, those type of events where you're bringing people in and it's kind of mixed with fun. Sometimes people will do like a paint and sip, a paint party, and then they are letting them try the Luminate. There's all types of creative events, and those are important, and we want to do those. And then we want to toss in a true Juice Plus event, where these people that you've had these lighter conversations with at these events, you bring them in and you invite them to come learn about whole food nutrition, and to where it's very well known we're going to be talking about Juice Plus. We're going to be talking about whole food nutrition. We're going to talk about the research on it, like that they know this is what we're going to be a focus, like a one simple change presentation for them. And then you can start to gather those. So if you're finding you're having a lot of conversations with people, but yet there's nobody really moving on ordering, I want you to think about that as well. Have you really brought them to an event where the focus is Juice Plus, where we're passing out order forms and we're saying, let's help you get started, right? And then also adjusting our expectations for seasonal orders. So summertime is a little bit lower. Often I feel like I'm starting a lot of conversations. I have a lot of conversations going, and then you're like, why aren't they ordering? But just think about, in their minds, they're not as worried about being sick in the summer. They should be, because it's very summer bummer to get sick, right? Like that's miserable. So that's something you can think about in your advertising. How do you advertise an event that's specific to the season? If I'm talking about immune health, that's going to make more of an impact on people's decision to come probably in the fall and the winter, because they're concerned about flu season, right? But if immune system is important in the summer too. So you could talk about, it's really terrible to be sick on vacation. Let's keep you well so that you can actually enjoy that time. So you can change your verbiage on that, but also the expectation. You may see less people ordering right now. Just keep moving forward, because those conversations are going to come about. It's like, I feel like this time of year, I have to have quite a few touch points with people. They're not as quick to order right now, even at the events. And so understanding that, that's okay. The other time of the year we're going to see that is November and December. You'll have a lot of conversations with people, more conversations, probably less events, more conversations, but less people that say, okay, I'm ready to get started. But then here comes January, February, March, and a lot of those conversations come to fruition. So don't stop the activity. We just have to keep moving forward. We don't want to be pests, right? Like, you don't want to be a pain in someone's neck, but it's still continue to do some events. Make sure they're on great days for the people that are seasonally appropriate for your area, for this time of year, and you just keep doing them and trust that activity always gets results. It will get results, guys. I promise you. Keep those conversations going. It will get results, but it's going to take a shift in our activity right now, and definitely in our mindset, to where we're not setting unrealistic expectations and getting discouraged and then stopping the activity. The summer slump is more to do with the lack of activity that happens on our part just as well. I mean, I get it. When you're on vacation, and we're going to be traveling so much. In fact, we won't be doing a DMO Zoom the next 2 weeks. We're going to just be out and about and going to Branson boot camp to speak there. If any of you guys are going to Branson, it'll be exciting to see you. But understanding, if I'm doing less events, I'm going to need to do more one-on-one conversations. So I may not be able to get people to events right now, but I am seeing that conversations that I've had, let's say with a teacher during the school year, they can't come to lunch with me, right? They're at the school. But in the summer, they can come to a one-on-one, a coffee with me, go get coffee or go get lunch with them. But if I have a mom that I've been talking to, that's going to be harder to get her to go to lunch because she has kids that are home from school. So I have to look at her season of life, what would best work for her. So keeping all of those things in mind, I would love to just open the discussion to you guys. What have you found in your area, or if now that we're thinking about these things, that you have found that this applies to your life or to your business? Does anyone want to share?
Stacy, you got my wheels turning again. And this is such a good topic because I think we all are seeing, we go up and down on stuff that's going on, but things like yoga in the park or hikes with healthy snacks or something like that. But it's so easy to kind of get in that slump, like, oh, it's just a bad time. So I just really appreciated this and the encouragement to keep stepping, right?
Right. Keep stepping. Anyone else? Okay, the only other thing I'd like to add then that could be helpful is understanding season of our business, this summer season, there's all kinds of boot camps and regionals all across the US. They're everywhere. June and July, there's so many of them. And you got to think like, why are they there? Why do we have these different boot camps and regionals? Why does the company invest in those? Why do team leaders invest in those? Because it takes a lot of time and effort to do these events. If you've ever hosted one small event, you know what that's like. So to do these larger events, why do they do those? I wonder if it's possibly the same summer slump we kind of just talked about, where you need some motivation, you need some extra encouragement. It's between our conferences, and it's just a different, time of life that we're, just not in. So, I mean, that we're in right now. So, what are you fueling your mind with? If you're not doing as many events for yourself and your team is on vacation, it would be very easy just to kind of go into low mode where, if it works out that someone comes, great. If not, fine. People are just not in as much. It's summer vacation. We go on vacation with our business. And then, that discouragement, it's harder to we lose momentum of the conversations we've had. And then fall comes around and we want to get going again. But now it's like starting the whole thing again, starting that momentum process. So coming to a boot camp or a regional will really help fuel you. It fuels your excitement. When you go, they're smaller. It's different than when you go to conference. Conference is thousands of people. It's the big picture. But when you are at a boot camp or regional, you have a lot more focused conversations with people at the table. Even if your team is not there, don't worry about that. You go for yourself, encourage your team to come along, but your team is not going to go to boot camps and regionals if you don't go. It's very unlikely that they're going to go. You set that example and you show them. And so it's a worthy investment of your time. It's typically just like a 2-day event, but it's more specific training from people in the field. So people that are actually doing the work, that are building teams, that are getting customers. And then there's typically somebody from corporate that's there to kind of give some updates and that sort of thing. But the fun is really in the smaller conversations, those sideline connections that you made, those buddies that are on different people's team, they will be like the fuel that keeps you going. It's not only dependent upon your upline to build this business, it's dependent upon yourself, and the friendships and connections you make sideline can mean everything. They're the ones you get into little small Voxer chats with, and every year you go to conference and you like a reunion with them and you get to see them, and you're talking to other people that are the same position you are in the company and other people that are excited. And like I said, that training is really very much more specific on the day-to-day DMO work that we do, and you're getting to hear from some of the best in the company at these different events. So you can find those events on JP Live on our app. There's a button there that has the list of different events that are in the whole US, in the country right now. I know I love going to the Blue Ridge Boot Camp. I think they still have tickets. That's in Georgia. Phenomenal venue. It's gorgeous. And then I'm going to the boot camp in Branson. It's been on my bucket list for years. So we're excited to go on vacation there with the family. Think about that. Take your family on vacation, include them in these type of events. It's a business write-off. Because I'm going to the Juice Plus event, we can write off our hotel, we can write off our expenses of travel expenses. There's so many great benefits to that. Alita, what would you like to add?
Yeah, I just wanted to, I have earphones and I was on a walk. I just wanted to add, before COVID, we all did that. We all did a boot camp in the middle of the two conferences. And I think that was the missing ingredient the last couple of years with people. The other thing I wanted to mention is a lot of people on this call are either grandmothers or aunties. So we're not raising kids right now. So what I do is I'll say to my daughter-in-law who lives here, I'll say, hey, I'm going to pick up May and take her to the park. And so while we're waiting in line with the train, I meet all kinds of people, all kinds of moms with kids. And then when I go visit my kids in Nashville and Charlotte, I'll ask my daughters and daughter-in-laws ahead of time, hey, do you mind if we have a little, like a salad in a jar or something at your house? You can invite all your friends over. It'll be fun. And so I'll do that for them. And I get like a ton of their friends there with all those babies. And, it's, don't think, oh, just because I don't have kids anymore, I don't have anybody to talk to. Well, I'm missing the boat with all the young moms. No, there's other ways to do it. I have a whole street full of young moms, and I'll have events and just have them come over, and just, I mean, they love it. They like the wisdom that we offer them, you guys.
Yeah.
We have been through it, right? We've been through it. And so they just sit there and gobble it all up, and just in your humility and in the love for them being mothers and caregivers for their families, just be that support for them, whether it's you get an order from them or not. They're going to remember you, trust me.
Such good wisdom with that, Alita. Be the mentor to the younger people. I mean, think about it too. We want to build teams of people that are younger than us. I don't want a team that's going to age out. I mean, we're all aging, right? So if we don't have younger moms coming onto our team, if we don't have younger parents, the next generation, then eventually my team is going to get to where, they're not bringing on new younger team members. Like, you've heard of that. Teams age out is kind of what we call it. We want to be careful of that, but you've got such wisdom to gain, give that you've gained through the years. What ways can you be a mentor to others? I thought, Alita, too, about this time of year hosting a neighborhood get together. And we've done that every year since we've been here. I need to set it for this year, but you got to go around to the neighborhood and invite them and let them know, like, hey, we're going to do this cookout. And it's just a lot of fun. And if that's not connected to Juice Plus, but it's bringing in conversations. If you have your tower garden and you post about it, people will say, I want to see your tower garden. I've seen it. I would love to see it in person. And you bring them all in. That's what happened last time. And I ended up with some conversations on Juice Plus. When I invite them to the event, the next event I'm doing, I have more relationship with them and they're more likely to come. So some sort of neighborhood get together, that's an excellent way. And when you're
ice cream socials are really great too at this time of the year.
Yeah.
People love them. They love them. And kids love them. The families love them. And then you have your gardens in the back,
Perfect.
It's nice.
Yes. Patty, go ahead.
Yeah, really quick, just because I think it's probably a question a lot of people have in their head from both you and Alita, because I just so appreciate your wisdom, is, an ice cream social, a neighborhood thing. If you don't have a tower garden, how do you, do you always bring up Juice Plus and what you do and why you do it, or you just are building those relationships?
Not from the front of the group. Like, I'm not going to say, okay, before everybody eats their ice cream, let me tell you about Juice Plus, right? To me, it's more relationship building. So you're being seen as somebody who gives value, who's in service to the community, that brings people together, that you gain even just some respect of that because they're not doing it, right? And you're like, oh, I'm so glad I didn't have to. And she was the one that would. But just people love to be seen and included. Hey, I'm inviting you over. And then through that, you're building that connection to where you can have the conversations. That is what I have found. But if you want to do it for a more specific Juice Plus event, you totally could. Alita, do you have anything to add to that?
Let's see if I'm muted. Oh,
No,
yeah, I just have everybody bring a topping. And then I go to the local yogurt shop and I say, I'm having a neighborhood event. I will promote your business. Can I have like 25 bowls? So I'm promoting them, the frozen yogurt people, but then I'm also, and I definitely take these conversations aside. Oh my gosh, I have the same thing. Can I have your phone number? I'd love to talk to you later about, your yard guy or whatever. And so it's all about relationships. The longer I'm in this business, the more I'm totally convinced it's about that. Totally.
It is. And you guys, think about what Alita just said. We're in an age where people can buy whatever they want whenever they want. We are not the only fruit and vegetable powder that's out there. We're not. We never have been, but we have more access to other products, or our prospects have more access to other products that are actually being advertised to them. A1G being one of those. There's a bunch of those to where, Balance of Nature, they see these commercials. That's kind of never happened before, definitely with social media. So there's lots of people telling our story, but what sets us apart? What's the difference between them ordering that problem or product and ordering something from us? It has got to be the connections that we make with them. That's what's going to set us apart. The customer care we give them, the value that we bring to their life. You all have value to bring to your community. You do. You absolutely do. You have learned things. You have passions about things that maybe somebody else doesn't. You have an expertise in different areas. What if it's all technical skills that you have? Okay, find some way to bring that value to other people in your community that also need that skill set, or whatever it is. But remember, you do have value. You do have a message. People are looking for the solution that we have to offer. How can you connect with those people in a way that draws them in and wants to stay a part of this product, but then wants to be a part of the company? And every little thing counts. Again, it's all the little conversations that don't feel like work that is the work. That is the work. That is how we build this business. It's one person at a time, one conversation at a time. And then you start gathering those people together in events. So I hope you're encouraged by that. Tap, I see you're unmuted. Did you want to say anything?
I just wanted to expand on what Alita said, because I'm an older person. I don't have, my child lives 3,000 miles away and doesn't have her own children. So I don't have access to young families. That's what I felt like. And I'm constantly trying to connect. And what I learned, we had a gathering a few weeks ago, and two friends of mine are grandparents, and they were babysitting a grandkid, and they were struggling with what they were going to do come Thursday last week because they were tied up doing something else. So I borrowed a grandkid and offered to take them on an adventure. And I had two children for 2 hours. We had a blast. I met 7 other young mothers, enough that I have a connection to them and can follow up. So if you don't have a kid, you're not related to a kid, borrow a kid, because kids attract other connections.
Yes. Kids kids create conversations.
Yes.
I mean,
that's a better way.
Yeah, borrow a child, someone's neighbor that needs a break, a young mom that has little ones. That was huge to me. I had a friend, Lucy Grice, if you're watching, within Juice Plus, a sideline buddy, she would call and say, hey, can I take Colin with me to the grocery store? And I was like, yes, I had 2 little ones. Of course you can take him. And they had like the best time. And so you can borrow that. You will find people that will let you borrow their children. They will be happy to get a break to take a shower on their own. Look at the local libraries. Libraries have all kinds of events for the kids all summer. Pick some of those and take them to those events where the mom may be worn out and she's like, I just can't even go. Or say, I'll go with you. Let's go together and take the kids to this, so that she has extra hands and you're now around other parents. When you're out and about just doing life, have conversations with people. Start conversations. Ask them what they do. Where are they from? How long have they lived here? How old are their kids? What are they in? Just create conversations, because from that, you'll find the need that you can eventually share Juice Plus with, but you're just looking, how do I continue to build these relationships? Lisa, did you
Also,
want to add something?
look for parents that have multiple children in sports, because they need to be at 2 different fields at the same moment. And it's really easy to borrow a kid that way.
Yes. Yep. Show up for that family in their kids' games. Like, that's huge. What if they don't have grandparents that come? What if you don't have grandkids to go to games? You can be that surrogate grandparent. And I mean, that's huge. That's a huge service and influence. Lisa, did you want to say something?
I was just going to scaffold off that. So at our church, we have a lot of kids, and my age group is getting kind of older also. So I have been going to softball games and baseball games recently, and the parents are coming up and thanking me. I've been bringing my dog, and you do not know how many people love your dog. So kids are laying on him, asking to take pictures. One mom had to leave, and she's like, "Oh, I'm so glad you're here. I'm not sure if I deleted your message and blah, blah, blah." So that's the other thing. Make sure you keep track of their names, because I was helping her with some homeschool stuff, and she's like, "I wanted to ask you some more questions." And I really just met her because I was watching another young lady's game, and I went up and said hi to her, and she's like, "I'm so thankful you said hi." And so then her daughter, the second time I saw her, she said the other day, she's like, her mom's like, "Well, I'm going to take you. We need to go take your brother. So you need to come with me." And she's like, "Well, can't I stay with her? So, and can I take her dog home?" So those are all great ways. I mean, because for me, I feel the same way. I was kind of losing, getting into the older crowd, because everyone's like, "Hey, what's your niche? And what's your age group?" or whatever. But, so that's been helpful. And the other thing that when you said that was really helpful for me when you talked about maybe hiking, because I do a lot of hiking. And now I think I'm going to go on Facebook and add my own group and say, hiking and nutrition or something like that, because I go with a lot of people, but it just seems like I need to get some different ones going. So thank you for that.
Yes, Lisa, one of my team members, Kathy Crispin, she may watch this later, but she had always, every month, she has like the most customers in our whole team. And we were asking her, like, "What are you doing?" And she does not do as many events. She does a few events, maybe 1 or 2 a month, but hers is more, she plays pickleball. She goes and hikes everywhere. She has like a walking group, and she is with people. She's not at home. We have a business where we can work from home, but we can't work at home all the time. And I'm notorious for that. I can find stuff to do here. I can find conversations to have via text or call somebody or get on Zoom. I can do that all day. But if I'm staying in my house, I'm going to limit the number of conversations and connections. And it's not as fun to stay inside, right? So she's out and about all the time, those one-on-one connections, hiking and talking. And she doesn't even advertise it as like a nutrition group. She just gathers people together and they're just talking as friends. The conversation changes to health or to the need. She offers a solution, and she's getting these Juice Plus orders. She really guides them very strongly. "Okay, let's get you started. What do you have to lose? Really, what do you have to lose? Try it for a month if you want to. You're only committing 1 month at a time. You're just paying one payment. They're going to ship it all to you, but you only pay one payment. Let's just try. I encourage you for all 4 months, but what do you have to lose?" That's one of her biggest statements she uses all the time. And I'm telling you, she has like 12, 14 customers every month and team members. She's getting team members and moving very quickly. So thank you for that reminder, Lisa. Antonia, did you want to add something? Maybe not. I just saw that you were unmuted. All right, girls, thank you all so much for being on. I hope this sparks your mind to start thinking through seasonal expectations, some encouragement. We're going to skip the next 2 Mondays. I'll put that out on Voxer and in our reminders, but I do have some information I'll share with you. I'll send you guys a video or one of our past recording. Like we have a really good one on summer that I'll send to you for next week to listen to, but I sure appreciate you all being on here, and we will just all commit to having a great week. Let's get out there and chat with people. Bye, everyone.
Thanks, Stacy.
Thank
You're
you.
welcome.